ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुदानंद भगवान की जय। माता पिता की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरि मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, and we were looking into verse number 24. We completed Brahmanarpanam Brahma Haivi Brahma Aganau Brahmanahutam Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Everything we discovered in this, that everything, every part of the ritual is Brahman. Every detail, that means offering, whatever is offered is Brahman. The means of offering, the means by which that stick through which it is offered is Brahman. The oblation, Havan Samagri, Ghrita, ghee, is Brahman. This all is offered by Brahman into the fire, and fire is again Brahman. Brahman indeed it is to reach. And it is to be reached by him who sees everything as Brahman. Everything is Brahman. This is Krishna explaining to Arjuna. And he says in verse number 25, Yagyas include various forms of discipline. Devameva pare yagyam yogine puryaspasate brahmagnava pare yagyam यज्ञनेवोपजहुति अपरे योगिनः some yogis, the karma yogis, Daivam Yagya, ritual invoking deities, Iva alone, Parya upasate, performs, Apare, other sannyasis, Brahmaganau, onto the fire, knowledge of Brahman, Yagyam, the self, Ahankara, Yagyan eva, by the self, Ahankara itself, Upajuvavati, offer, Karma yogis perform only those rituals that invoke the deities, while others, the sannyasis, we include Jnanis also here, Jnanis offers themselves, by themselves, onto the fire of knowledge, not the fire of knowledge, that is Brahman. At the beginning of 3rd chapter, Krishna told Arjuna that he had given the world 2 committed lifestyles. One lifestyle is a lifestyle of a sannyasi, wherein the commitment, nishtha, is pursuit of knowledge alone. There is nothing else. The other lifestyle is karma yoga, a life of activity wherein the pursuit of knowledge is coupled with karma. Karmas are also to be done, but along with the pursuit of knowledge. Krishna also made it clear that both lifestyle are for the sake of moksha, liberation. The purpose, the whole purpose is moksha, liberation from bondage. Taking oneself other than the Paramatma. The bondage is that oneself is taking oneself other than the all-pervasive. Here in this verse, under discussion, both the Karma Yogi and Sannyasi are discussed. For Karma Yogi, Apare Yoginaha, the enjoyed karma is only Antakaran Shuddhi. The karmas for Karma Yogis are for Antakaran Shuddhi, not for any other end. It is for preparing the mind for knowledge, that is moksha. We had been discussing this again and again. Karma Yogi do karma as offering to the Lord for Antakaran Shuddhi alone, and there is no other purpose. He is not doing karma for karma phala bhokta. He is not a karma phal bhokta. All of which we have seen in the previous discussions on Karma Yoga. When the Karma Yoga perform ritual, Karma Yogis perform ritual, Yagyam prupasate, Paryupasate. The Lord or the Lord in the form of deity is always kept in view. Anything that is done with the Lord or a deity, a Deva in view, is called Deva. Indra is a Deva. So is Agni, fire, and Aditya, the sun. Thus any action done invoking their grace is Daivam Karma. Karma Yogi worship in this way and do not see everything as Brahman. Karma Yogi worship in this way and do not see everything as Brahman, as sannyasis do. They are simply performing ritual, invoking a devata, invoking the Lord for the Lord's grace, for gaining antakaran shuddhi. We know the verse is not referring to those who perform ritual for ends other than antakaran shuddhi like heaven, etc. Swarga Adi Deva Loka. Because the people performing the action here are called yogis. Those who are not yogis may perform ritual for sake of gaining children, wealth, heaven, Swargaloka, and so on. There are many rituals in the Vedas and can produce these type of results. And people who perform them are called kamya karmis. There are kamya karmis, and then there are karma yogis, and then there are jnanis and sannyasis. Karma yogi and jnanis are almost karma yogi and sannyasi. The big in middle is jnani. Because the word yogina is used in this verse, we know that the people under discussion perform ritual for antakaran shuddhi alone. These rituals are performed meticulously, meaning that they are performed with shraddha, the faith, alertness, and in careful adherence to the rules. The prefix pari with the verb upasyate, upaste, conveys the sense of meticulousness with which the yajna are performed to invoke the grace of devas. Apare, which is usually means other, is used here to distinguish between the karma yogi and sannyasis discussed in this verse. Offering oneself to the fire of knowledge. In the expression Brahmaganau, fire of Brahman, fire stands for knowledge, the knowledge of Brahman. The word yajna, beside meaning ritual and discipline, means Atma, the self, because there is sacrifice involved for one who pursues knowledge. Knowledge also can be looked upon as yajna and is therefore called jnana yajna. If any yajna, there must be a performer of the yajna. Here the performer of jnana yajna is the seeker of knowledge, a mumukshu, a jigyasu, one who wants to know. The verse points out that the seeker offers himself or herself, since the seeker alone is offered. So the offering is seeker himself, the one who wants to know the knowledge, wants to have the knowledge. Who is it that does the offering? If someone else offered the seeker onto the fire, it would be simple case of homicide. But here, because the seeker offers himself or herself, it seems to be suicide, not homicide. And willing suicide at that, one offers oneself yagyam yagyanen upa juati. Here yajna means the self. Upon the fire of Brahman is offered the ahankara. The ignorant person looks upon himself or herself as one who has the doership and enjoyership, because he or she takes the body, mind and senses to be the self. It is this small person, the seeker who is offered unto the fire of Brahman, the knowledge of Brahman. To offer the ahankara onto the knowledge of Brahman is the best form of harakiri. Harakiri. Harakiri means belly cutting, a traditional Japanese form of suicide performed in case of disloyalty to the emperor. Obligatory harakiri was abolished in 1868, but voluntary forms have persisted. The seeker, the sannyasis, offer themselves by themselves into the fire of knowledge of Brahman. This means they are both the karta and the karma, the performer of the action of offering and the object offered. The doer of the Jnana Yajna is myself. The one who knows is myself. The one who knows is myself. What is known is myself, and what is offered onto the fire is Brahman. Of Brahman is also myself. It means that I am Brahman. This knowledge that I am Brahman is called Samyagga Darshana. Samyagga Darshana, clear vision. And being clear vision, it is opposed to Deva Yajna, performed by a Karma Yogi. As Krishna told Arjuna in 3rd chapter, when sannyasis follow pure jnana, it is Jnana Yoga, which is the Jnana Yajna mentioned in this verse. The two type of people are not being compared here, but the two type of Yajna, Dev Yajna and Jnana Yajna, are being compared. Having said this much, Krishna goes on to describe other Yajnas, after which he would again praise Jnana Yajna. The Yajna mentioned in the next few verses are not rituals at all. Not because they are disciplines whose purpose is to accomplish moksha by antakaran shuddhi. They are considered to be yajna. Such disciplines can accomplish two ends. One is certain composure, tranquility and steadiness of mind. One is certain composure, tranquility and steadiness of the mind. And the second end that can be accomplished is maturity, a freedom from tantrums of one's raga dveshas, likes and dislikes that hold one as hostage. You can release yourself from their hands by prayers and rituals, which help you gain certain attitude. These disciplines can also help you gain alertness and are performed by sannyasis and karma yogis alike. They may be practiced in order to gain moksha or lesser results such as degree of composure or discipline in your life, so that the other disciplines may be practiced. There is no rule governing these which discipline are to be performed by whom. You may choose one or another depending upon your need. Thus Krishna mentions a few disciplines performed in yajna, which we will discuss in verse number 26. The offering of one's sensory activities. Sensory activities. Shotrādīni indriyāni anye संयमाग्निषु जुहावते शब्दानि विषयानन्ये इंद्रियाग्निषु जुहावते. Anye, others, samyagnishu, into the fire of self-mastery. Shrotadini, Shrotradini, organs of hearing. Indriyani, senses. Juhavati, offer. Anye, other. Shabdadini, sound, etc. Visayan, sense objects. Indriya Agnishu, into the fire of senses, Juravati offers. Others offer their organs of hearing and other senses into the fire of self-mastery, while still others offer sound and other sense objects into the fire of senses. The first yajna described is the verse, in this verse, related to the sense organs, the ears and so on. Shotra dini indriyani. Shotra means ears, and the suffix adi means etc., refer to the eyes, nose, tongue, and skin senses of touch. These five senses are organs through which sense perception, such as hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, and touching, respectively take place. Here, the organ of sense perception and the organ of action are offered onto the fire of self mastery. Does this mean that organs themselves are offered? Does one pluck off ear and nose and pull out the eyes and tongue to offer them into the fire? Of course not. In fact, the person does not do anything. The discipline described here is control. Control of the sense or inner mastery. Sanyama. Keeping sanyam in talking, listening, seeing, smelling, touching, meaning that they do not go by their fancies. चलो इसको भी टच कर लें, ये बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, सूंघो, सुनो, ये म्यूजिक अच्छा है, ये म्यूजिक अच्छा है, सुनो. Not to go by their fancies. In other words, they practice alertness with reference to the senses. A discipline is not an end in itself. We see this alertness or deliberateness is Buddhistic meditation. Those who practice this discipline remain aware of everything that they do, even the opening and closing of their eyes. This practice definitely has its benefit, but it can also create tension and should be followed up with the inquiry. Inquiry should be the main emphasis. Whereas the practice itself is a discipline, meaning that it is not an end in itself. Discipline is a mean of gaining certain composures. Thus, the first yajna mentioned in this verse is a discipline, wherein the sensory activities dictated by fancies are offered into the fire. Here this means that one having the availability of the fancies for all the sensory activities, for all the sense organs, he offers onto the fire of self-mastery, Sanyama Agnishu. The sense organs being many, fire appears in its plural form here. It should be noted that it is the activities that are offered. He doesn't knowingly, he doesn't go into the pleasures of sense object. Not the senses. All fanciful and mechanical activities are offered onto the fire of deliberation, meaning that all one's activity are conscious and deliberate. This is what is meant by control. He deliberately, knowingly knowingly control them. The other yajna described here is the offering of the sense objects, sound and so on, Shabda Adi Visayana, which include touch, form, taste and smell. These sense objects are offered onto the fire of the sense organ, Indriya Agnishu. But then these senses to be no different from different than what is happening everywhere in the world today. People are lining up to see all kind of movies and are listening to all kind of music, feeding their sense organs with whatever sense objects they want. This is, of course, is not what is being said here. Shankara explains the compound Indriya Agneshu as Indriyani Iva Agneshu, meaning that the sense alone are the fire. Onto the fire of sense organ, the sense objects are offered. Taken liberally, it would seem that sounds are offered onto the ears, form are offered onto the eyes, smells are offered onto the nose, tastes are offered onto the tongue, and touch is offered onto the sense of touch. This is what we commonly do throughout our entire lifetime. Where then is the discipline? Here we are talking about yajna, which means discipline in activity. To clarify this point, Shankara says that for the people discussed in this verse, there is a discipline in all this. Just as mother decides what her child should eat, how much and when, which becomes the discipline for the child until he can decide these things for himself. So too yogis follow certain discipline. Some follow sama, which is mentioned in the first line of this verse, and the other follows dhamma, mentioned in the second line. Senses are offered with a certain discipline. How much to see, how much to hear, how much to talk, how much to walk, and so on. Knowing how much to eat, for example, the person eats no more, even though there may be a desire for another helping. These are disciplines, which are the practice of Dhamma. Instantly, yogis practice mainly Dhamma so that they can come to Sama later. In this way, they live their life with discipline. With reference to every sense organ, there is sense object. The yogi offers the sense object to the sense organ, but he or she holds the trump card as it were. The sense object do not carry the person away. Even though one lets the sense organ go out into the world, the person practices restraint, Dhamma, by ensuring that only Dharma is followed, not Adharma. The yogi feeds the sense organ with whatever is proper. Dharma aviruddha. Aviruddha means that which is unopposed to one's pursuit or conducive to one's welfare. This point is crucial in understanding the meaning of yajna. Without harming his pursuit, without hurting the dharma, the yogis perceive and enjoys the sense object, feeding the sense organs in a manner that is conducive to his pursuit of knowledge. The word juvati in this verse is also important. It does not simply means to feed the sense organs or to sacrifice something. It means that you are doing the offering knowingly. When you do, you hold the trump card and are not letting the sense feed themselves. The sense want more. You fancies always demand more. But you say, no, this is like a child waiting the chocolates that he had collected on Halloween. But the mother says, no. Why not? The child says, they are my chocolates. I went around and collected all of them. Why should I not eat all of them? Yes, the mother explains, they are your chocolate, all right, but I will keep them for you. Even though the child may cry, the mother remains firm. Here you do the same to yourself. You mother yourself by disciplining the demand of your fancies, which is the practice of Dhamma. Understood? Further, Krishna says, Sarvani indriya karmani prana karmani chapare. आत्म संयम योगग्नौ जुहाति ज्ञान दीप्ते अपरे, others, ज्ञान दीप्ते, lightened by knowledge, atma samyam yoga agnau, in the fire of self mastery, sarvani, all, indriya karmani, activities of senses, pharana karmani, activities of the organ of action, cha, and juhati, is offered. Others offer all the activities of senses and the organs of action onto the fire of self mastery, lightened by the knowledge. The seeker discussed in this verse are sannyasis, but not jnanis. Because they are sannyasi with no obligatory duty to perform, they offer their activities, except those required to maintain the body, up to the fire of self mastery. Atma samyam yoga agneshu juhati. Such people live a life of meditation and contemplation, called Atma Samyam Yoga. Onto this fire of meditation that is helpful in self-knowledge, those who are given to meditation offer all sensory and other activities. For the people discussed here, the usual activity of life resolves into one's life of meditation. Thus, they do nothing but meditation and whatever that is necessary to maintain the body so that knowledge can be gained. The previous verse talked about the seekers who lived in the world, but the seeker in this verse are renunciates. They remain where they have to remain, live a life of meditation and pursue the knowledge. Herein then meditation is being emphasized. These seekers are sannyasis as well as yogis. For them there is viveka, their discipline being lightened by the knowledge, jnana dipta. In other words, they know exactly that they want knowledge, that is moksha. The jnana dipte means lightened by the knowledge, a knowledge of what is right and wrong, what is nitya and anitya, real and unreal. Thus both vairagya and viveka are there. But dhamma and sama are yet to be gained. In order to gain this self-mastery, the seeker have given up activities and have taken to a life of meditation. Such sannyasis are many. Further, Krishna describes more yagyas. In verse number 28, we continue and read the verse now. Dravyagya-tapo yagyaha yoga-yagya tata apare swadhyaya-gyan-yagyascha yatya sanshitvrataha. Tatah, so too, apare, others, dravya yagnaha, those who share their wealth, tapo yajnaha, those who follow prayerful disciplines, yoga yagyaha, those who practice yoga, cha, and swadhyaya jnana yagya, those who pursue recitation of their own Vedas and self-knowledge, samasita vrataha, those of firm vows, yatayaha, those who make efforts. So too there are those who share their wealth, those who follow prayerful disciplines, those who practice yoga, and those of firm vows and effort also pursue recitation of their own Veda and self-knowledge. Here Krishna points out various other disciplines, yajnas that different type of seekers are engaged in. Those who distribute wealth in form of money and or whatever else that may be given as charity are called dravya yajna, dan dena is yajna, dan yajna. To distribute one's wealth, dravya can be purely charity, or it can be given as a yajna, as an offering to the Lord, as a means of invoking the Lord in form of this sacrifice. A person who does this is called dravya yajna. Here in this verse, the person who gives his wealth, for example, in India, a good part of wealth in the form of cows, land, gold, clothing, vessels, or grain that a man leaves behind when he dies is distributed to the people. In fact, this distribution is the main part of the ritual performed after death. Before the cremation, the distribution takes place. To distribute one's wealth as a yajna while living helps one gain antakaran shuddhi, because there is giving involved. Whenever there is a giving involved, antakaran shuddhi take place. Dan after death is okay, but before, when one is alive, if it is given, if a person gives his wealth or whatever he has, he gains antakaran shuddhi, because giving helps one. Another set of seekers described in this verse are tapoyagyaha. Those who practice various types of tapas are called tapoyagya. Tapas refers to any kind of prayerful disciplines, undertaking for the sake of atonement or discipline. The vows that can take are also tapas. Some people, for example, take a vow of not eating on Ekadashi. Ekadashi Vrat is a tapas. The 11th day of the moon each month and spend the day in prayer. Such people are called tapoyagya. Tapas is not just any discipline. It is a prayerful discipline. Fasting, if a fasting is prayerful, it is tapas. Otherwise, even jogging and aerobic would become yajnas. So jogging and aerobics are not yajnas. They are not tapas. Here the attitude is religious and therefore is gained for antakaran shuddhi. Fasting done with the attitude of offering to God is tapas. And fasting done for maintaining body is not tapas. Seekers who follow Ashtanga yoga, 8-limbed yoga, are called yoga yajnas. Ashtanga yoga is a prayerful discipline wherein the Lord is worshipped. Ishvara Paranidhanam is one of its prescribed observance. Niyamas. Still others who are yatah samsit vratah, people of effort, and those vows are very clear, are swadhaya jnana yajna, those who follow the discipline of study and knowledge. Swadhaya yajna refers to those who learn to chant or recite their Vedas, their own Vedas. There are some people who, having learned in the Vedas in this way, do nothing but recite portion of it daily. Such people are called Swadhaya yajna, those who performs yajna of Swadhaya. And those who study Vedanta, who inquire into Vedanta Shastras, are called Jnana Yajnas. Those who perform the yajna of pursuing knowledge, jnana. Here the Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna are people of great effort. Yatah, those commitment of knowledge is complete. Samvasit Vartah, and these people do both these yajnas and are therefore referred to Swadhyaya Yajna, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna in this verse. In verse number 29, Pranayam is also looked upon as yajna, and this pranayam yajna we will do tomorrow. Here other seekers follow the discipline of pranayam or breath control, one of the 8 limbs, Ashtanga Yoga, which is also looked upon as yajna, as we shall see in this next verse. So anything, please understand, anything done prayerfully, offered to the Lord, is for Antakaran Shuddhi. Even chanting of mantras, if not done as offered to Lord, will not result in Antakaran Shuddhi. Antakaran Shuddhi is what is required. Dan, if done as offering to God, it gets you Antakaran Shuddhi, which leads to Viveka Buddhi. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.